Welcome to a very special program. Today's program, starring Evan Clark, is going to tell you about the PDI process. It's a process of bringing a coach in from the factory, having it dropped off here, what we do to it, and why we do to it, all the different parts and pieces. So in other words, instead of just bringing a trailer in and putting it out for sale, it actually goes through a process before it goes out for sale. And then the reverse of that, when you buy it, we do it again to make sure that all of those things are up and working. It's a double check system that protects you and protects us, because when you drive out the driveway, you're going to be a happier camper and then come back and see us again. That's what this is all about. Evan has been with us, I don't remember how many years, but this whole entire group of people back here in the service department have 10, 12, 8 years of experience here at this store, plus life experience. So stay tuned for a program that you will actually get some great information.
Hello, my name is Evan. We're here at Sky River RV in beautiful Paso Robles, California. And I'm just going to kind of walk you through this Keystone Cougar. Basically, we're doing a PDI, or pre-departure inspection. Pretty much just making sure all the appliances are working and everything, the propane's full, the battery's good, and everything is working right. All right? So right here, this is what your external water heater compartment is going to look like. It's the service compartment. Now, when you buy something from us, everything is going to be set up and you're really not going to have to worry about it. But this is kind of going to show you what entails the actual PDI. So, first off, a lot of times they will have in the water heater compartment these little caps here, and these are for the fresh water drain underneath and the low point drains, which are basically to flush out your hot and cold lines throughout the entire coach for freezing conditions and things like that, so we'll never have freeze for you. And right here, this little guy, this is called an anode rod. First of all, this is where you would plug. This is the plug for the actual water heater tank, and this anode rod, what this does is once you install this, as long as the water's flowing, especially when it's hot, you know, you have ions and different, you know, molecules and calcium deposits and things of that nature that would normally eat up your tank. What this does is it attracts all that stuff so that it eats up the rod instead of your tank. And it's pretty important to make sure you get, I'd say with regular use, about once a year, get your water heater serviced, you know, and replace the anode rod. And I'll show you an example of what happens when you don't have it serviced regularly. As you can see, this is a brand new anode rod. This is an anode rod I pulled out of a unit the other day. As you can see, all of the meat on it, it's completely gone, totally corroded through, so much to the point to where the tank itself started developing a lot of buildup, calcium deposits and things of that nature. And right here, I actually have quite a bit of what I was able to pull out of that. And as you can see, some of these rocks are so big, I mean, I had to chop them up inside of the tank just to get them out of there. So once the anode rod's gone, there's nothing to stop it from just kind of corroding inside your tank. So you'll get this kind of stuff. And eventually this stuff will work its way up into your water lines, clog your faucets, things like that. And then you're gonna have a lot bigger problem on your hands. So definitely have your water heater serviced often. All right. Now, also, as far as the water heater, right here, behind this little black plastic casing, that's where the actual 110 volt, you know, basically your electrical heating component, right? Your heating element. Now, the reason I like to start on the exterior of these is because right here next to it, you can see there's a little on-off switch. I don't know if can you get a good view of that there? The reason I start outside is because when these are brand new, as you can see, the tank is empty. Otherwise, water would be dumping out of it right now. So if the tank is empty and there's no water in it, you never want to dry fire a electric heating element because it can just blow it out really fast. If this switch is switched into the on position and then you plug it in, it's immediately going to turn it on whether or not it has water or not. It has no sensor in order to tell, you know, the difference. So basically what I'm saying is you always want to make sure that that switch is off before you go and just plug it in. And if you know you've had water in it, just make sure there is water in it, and I'll kind of show you how to make sure of that as well. All right?
This is a great time of year to go camping because all the best campsites are available. And it's a great time to buy an RV from Sky River RV because the 2017 models are here. And that means great deals are being made on all the 2016 coaches that must be sold. Whether you're looking for motorized or towable, Sky River RV has the best selection of coaches on the Central Coast. And it's a great time to get the deal of a lifetime on an RV from Sky River RV in Paso Robles. With smiles on their faces, your friends tell you about how they pulled their kids away from the video games, cell phones, and tablets. They talk about their adventures and the fun they're having. How they went RVing, and now so can you. The great getaway from it all starts at Sky River RV. Get to any of Sky River RV's 3 Central Coast locations so that you too can unplug, disconnect, and reconnect with what's important, your family and friends. Sky River RV in Paso Robles, Pismo Beach, and now Buellton.
So right here in my hand I have those caps that I got out of the water heater compartment. I'm going to show you where these go and why they're not on there already. So when these units come to us brand new, there's no water in the lines or anything like that. Because of, you know, freezing conditions. They bring these things over from back east, you know, they go through sleet and snow and all that stuff, freezing conditions. You don't want frozen water inside your lines because it could crack your lines. Now, up underneath the trailer here, right here, what we have are the low point drains. In other words, these are coming straight off of the water lines themselves. So once we get them, we just go ahead and put them on. You always make sure it has the rubber gasket on. And we just go ahead and screw those on there until they're nice and tight, creating a seal. Do that to both of those. And your water lines are nice and tight. Now you'll notice there's one more here, and that's gonna go on the fresh water drain. You have another little spout just right here, and that's gonna be your fresh water drain itself. So that's coming straight down off of the water tank. So you wanna make sure you have your rubber gasket in there, check, and go ahead and screw it on there. Again, make sure it's nice and tight. Not too tight, but tight enough. So now that we have our fresh tank plugged and our low point drains plugged, that's the water lines themselves, that way we know it would be safe to go ahead and start filling the water tank. Now, I'm gonna have to tighten this anode rod up here. Now I'm inside the front compartment here, or the storage compartment as it's referred to a lot of times. These panels right here, they're the partition between your usable space and service area. So what I've gone ahead and done to access the back of the water heater is I've taken the screws out at the top and bottom of this panel. So I'm going to just go ahead and slide this panel out of the way and set it aside. So right here we can see the rear side of the water heater tank itself with the, you know, cold and hot lines coming off, and as you can see, the cold, they are blue and the hot lines are red, which is kind of nice of them to color code them for us. But there is one little thing that we always want to make sure we do, and it's called the mixing valve. So basically with the water heater, generally you'll have, you know, your hot coming out of the top, your cold coming out of the bottom, and here the valve is actually on the back side. It's called your mixing valve. What you want to do is, instead of being vertical, you want to turn it to where it's horizontal. Now what that's going to do, and I've gone ahead and turned it, so now it's in line with the cold. So basically, and it shuts the water off from mixing between cold and hot. So basically what that's going to do, it's going to make your water heater and essentially it's going to make your cold water cold and your hot water hot. See, if the mixing valve were to be open or in the vertical position, what would happen is it doesn't matter how hot the water inside the water heater gets, you can run the hot water all day long and it's going to feel lukewarm because they'll be mixing together. The purpose of doing that is to open up all the lines for winterization and things of that nature. We may get into that a little bit later, but and just flushing your tank or your lines out completely. But for proper operation, you always want to make sure that you close the valve off from this mixing line right here.
From a weekend wine tour up the coast to a cross-country adventure, the Class B van camper is the perfect coach for the couple looking for all the comfort of a larger RV in a self-contained, more versatile size. And Sky River RV in Paso Robles has the best selection of Class B van campers on the Central Coast. Come see the versatility and experience the quiet and luxurious ride of these beautiful Class B van campers at Sky River RV in Paso Robles. With smiles on their faces, your friends tell you about how they pulled their kids away from the video games, cell phones, and tablets. They talk about their adventures and the fun they're having. How? They went RVing, and now so can you. The great getaway from it all starts at Sky River RV. Get to any of Sky River RV's 3 Central Coast locations so that you too can unplug, disconnect, and reconnect with what's important, your family and friends. Sky River RV in Paso Robles, Pismo Beach, and now Buellton. You've been thinking about buying an RV and embarking on a great adventure. The only thing holding you back is the impression that RVs are expensive. Well, it's just not true. Sky River RV offers the most affordable options ever, and there are so many great benefits. A high-quality pre-owned RV is a great way to save thousands versus a new RV. And it can also come with a service agreement that outlives even the manufacturer's warranty. At Sky River RV, you'll find the largest selection of pre-owned RVs on the Central Coast. So take that great adventure now and go camping.
So right here, it's in the same compartment, the basement compartment, the storage compartment, whatever you want to call it. Right here to the right, we have, as you can see, our city water connection. This right here is your sewer tank flusher, and an external shower, satellite prep, and a little courtesy light here too as well. But you see the courtesy light's not coming on. Well, right here, this big red key, this is your battery disconnect, all right? So the battery disconnect in the off position, you want to put this key in and turn it to the on position. And at that point, now the light's working. Now the battery power is getting to the actual coach. One more thing I'd like to note about the battery disconnect is, you can plug the unit in as long as never plug the unit in if there's no battery installed. That's very important. You could blow fuses and things of that nature. But if you have a battery in there and you plug it in, everything's going to work just fine, but it will not charge the battery. You want to make sure that the battery disconnect is turned to the on position before you plug it into 110 power for it to charge. Otherwise, it's just going to kind of bypass that converter and give you 110 power through the DC the DC circuit. All right, first off, we have plugged it in right here, and it has a special little locking system where you thread this cuff onto it, so when you're camping, that's going to be nice and tight, water's not going to get in, and then the cover can kind of come down there. Even if it starts raining, it's not going to get any water in there, so you don't have to worry about it shorting out or anything like that. And then at that point, you can go ahead and plug her in, and that right there, that's what a 50 amp plug looks like. The receptacle looks just like that. It's got the 1, 2, 3 and a ground, all right? So once we do that, get it plugged in. And the new Cougars, they have little LED lights to indicate that they are getting 110 power right here. And if you want to go ahead and follow me on inside here, move this out of the way for you. Now right inside the door here, there's this little hidden cabinet here. I call it the command center. It has your monitor panel and various switches and things of that nature, including your ceiling lights. But right here, your battery. even if your battery is completely dead, as long as you have the battery disconnect on and you plug it in, it's always going to read full. Basically what it's doing is that 110 power, it's coming into the coach, going through the converter, which is then converting that AC power to DC power and charging the battery up. And then throughout here, you know, you have the fresh water level, the black tank, which is generally toilet only. Sometimes it's toilet and the sink right next to it. And you'll have your gray tank, which will generally be your shower and probably your sink, and the galley tank, otherwise your kitchen sink. All right. And right here you have various switches. Your water pump, that's if you have, you know, make sure you have water in your fresh water tank. And that'll give you, you know, if you're dry camping as opposed to camping with hookups, you know, with water and everything like that, you're going to be pulling just off of the fresh water tank. So that's when you'd use your water pump. As far as your electric water heater, obviously you're going to have to be plugged in to 110 power source for your electric water heater to use. And you may have already noticed this, there are two switches. There's one switch for the electric water heater here, and then there's the other switch on the outside. Like I said, you always want to make sure that's off before you plug it in. Okay? And then right next to that, you have your LP gas or your propane water heater. When you click that on, it's going to go ahead and start doing its thing. So we have no propane hooked up right now. So let's go ahead and see, I'll show you what happens. So that DSI fault, that's direct spark ignition. So if that red light is on, it means that there's some kind of problem. It's not lit. It's going to try to spark up and go through its cycle. As you can see, the light went off. But since it's getting no fuel source, no propane, the light's going to come back on. It failed. All right? Now that's because we have no propane in it. Now if I put propane in it, it should light right up, but if it doesn't, then we may have a problem, or it may the lines just may need to be burped, basically. So I'll go ahead and shut that off. And also right here, you know, you have your slide room in and out. So I mean, you literally just hold it down and it'll start sliding it in, hold it out, and it'll start sliding it out. As soon as you start hearing the gears click against themselves, stop. It's all the way out, and the seals are right where they need to be. All right. And on these newer models, pretty much all of them now have the automatic awning or the electric awning. And it's just as simple as extend. So extending the awning, just as simple as holding down extend, you know, as long as you have proper battery and everything. And the beauty of these is that, let's say there's a tree right there and you're camping, you want to stop, it just stops when you let go. All right. Same goes for holding down retract, it brings it on in. Now, I will say this, when it comes to any awning, and this is my opinion, and I'm sure that, you know, any tech would tell you the same thing. If it's too windy, go ahead and bring it on in. If you're not sure whether it's too windy or not, most likely it is. So better safe than sorry, go ahead and bring it on in if it's too windy. If you're gonna be away from the coach for a while, let's say you're camping at the lake and you're going for a boat ride. While you're on that boat ride, bring the awning on in. There's no use in being out there and having the gusts of wind kick up and rip your awning, because then you're gonna be coming on in here for service and saying, hey, I need my awning fabric replaced, okay?
What's easy to drive and park, gets up to 24 miles to the gallon, and allows you to get a second home tax break? It's the Class B van camper, and Sky River RV has the best selection of Class B van campers on the Central Coast, featuring brands like Airstream, Winnebago, and Road Track. And not only do we have the best selection of the highest quality van campers, we offer the best prices. If you're interested in or even curious about a Class B van camper, do yourself a favor and come to Sky River RV. If you're looking for an RV, don't limit your choices. Come to Sky River RV, where we have over 300 coaches for you to discover and explore. At Sky River RV, we have the largest selection of high-quality travel trailers, fifth wheels, and motorhomes. We carry only quality brands like Airstream, Coachman, Newmar, Cougar, and Winnebago, just to name a few. And along with this incredible selection, we also have the best prices. If you're looking or even just curious about an RV, come to Sky River RV. Would you buy just any car because it was cheap? Or would you buy the highest quality car that fit your needs at the best price? At Sky River RV, we offer the highest quality RVs at the best price, and we have an incredible selection. No other RV dealer on the Central Coast can offer you brands like Airstream, Coachman, Newmar, or Winnebago. And we're not talking about previous rentals or trade-ins. These are brand new coaches. Come to Sky River RV in Paso Robles to find the best selection of the highest quality RVs at the best price.
Now right here, this is your propane gas detector. Now the propane gas detectors, generally they are actually the only detector that's wired into the actual 12-volt system. All right, you can test it, you can hold it down, it's very loud, as you can hear. But the reason they're down so low is because propane gas, it'll settle down to the lowest point. So if you have a slight gas leak, it's gonna fall down to the floor, and once it rises to that point, it'll start beeping and it'll wake you up, it'll wake your neighbors up. It's a good thing to have in here. So we have propane detector here. Right here on the ceiling, we have our smoke detector. Now our smoke detector has just a regular 9-volt battery in it. You wanna test your smoke alarm often. You just, same thing, you hold it down until you hear the beep, and then you know it's good. You want to go ahead and test that. I mean, I'd say every time you go out, test your smoke alarm just to make sure it's still good. And generally, smoke detectors are good for about 10 years. So after 10 years from the date of purchase, that's when you'd want to go ahead and replace it. Okay? Now, generally, the carbon monoxide alarm will be in a sleeping area. And it just so happens it is right here on the wall. And generally, you'll have a sticker here that tells you, it even says test device operation after vehicle's been in storage before each trip and at least once per week during use. So check it often, like I said. It's the same thing. It looks just like the smoke detector, except it's a carbon monoxide alarm. Make sure it's got a good battery in it. Hold it down and test it, and if it chirps, it's good. So make sure carbon monoxide alarm is good, your smoke detector is good, and your propane alarm is good, and then you're protected against all three of those. So what we have here, this is our actual GFCI outlet right here. This is the one that governs a few of the other outlets. They're protected by this. In other words, let's say you have the air conditioner running, and you have a coffee maker going in the kitchen, and someone has a hair dryer or something going in here, and they all shut off, right? First thing I would do, see what I have here, this is just, it's a little tester, it's a tool we use. You can get them at any hardware store. Basically, you plug it in, and there's a little chart on there that tells you, what's good, what's not good, and what each combination of these lights mean. When you plug it in, ideally these two orange ones will light up and the red one will not. That means it's wired up correctly, ground is in the right spot, hot and negative are all in the right spot. Now there's also a tester on that for the GFCI test. So what you want to do is you just go ahead and right there. So I pushed it down. What that did is it grounded the hot and the ground together. So it tripped the GFI. And this button popped out, this reset button. So if that happens, that reset button there, just push it back in and it should come right back on, just like it did. Now, if you push it back in and it didn't, then I'll go ahead and show you where to go from there. All right, I'm going to grab my tester here. So go ahead and follow me and I'll show you just right where the actual circuit breakers are. Now in this unit, it's right below the refrigerator, right next to your RP or LP detector. What you do is you just push in on it, and they all look just like this, at least in a Keystone. All right, so you just push in on it, and it pops open. So here you can see, just like at home, you have your circuit breakers, and they're all labeled. So right here you have GFI. Right, so that's the one we're looking for. So you got second AC converter and GFI. 1, 2, 3. So what I'm driving at, if you reset the tester on the GFI and that still didn't do the trick, it may have tripped over here. So let's say it's in, it would be in the middle position. What you do is come over here, push down on it, all the way back up on it. That should reset it. If that doesn't do the trick, you probably have some kind of wiring issue or something like that, something service related. Come on in and see us. And then I'll go ahead and just touch on this. On this side here, this is your fuse panel. All right. Again, they're all labeled. It shows you what size fuse to use for different things. For example, your monitor panel, you have living room lights and things of that nature. And they're really handy. Actually, I'll pull one and show you. On these newer models, they actually have little LED lights that will illuminate when if a fuse is pulled or the fuse blows out, right? So if that LED light, that little red light comes on, that's an indication that the fuse is blown or it's out of place. And the beauty of it also is when it's closed, there's a little viewing window here. So you don't even have to open it up to see that there's a fuse out. So if you see a little red light in there, you'll know that there's a fuse that's been blown out and needs to be replaced, or it's out of place.
This is a great time of year to go camping because all the best campsites are available. And it's a great time to buy an RV from Sky River RV because the 2017 models are here. And that means great deals are being made on all the 2016 coaches that must be sold. Whether you're looking for motorized or towable, Sky River RV has the best selection of coaches on the Central Coast. And it's a great time to get the deal of a lifetime on an RV from Sky River RV in Paso Robles. From a weekend wine tour up the coast to a cross-country adventure, the Class B van camper is the perfect coach for the couple looking for all the comfort of a larger RV in a self-contained, more versatile size. And Sky River RV in Paso Robles has the best selection of Class B van campers on the Central Coast. Come see the versatility and experience the quiet and luxurious ride of these beautiful Class B van campers at Sky River RV in Paso Robles.
So you can see why ladders, RVs are together, because we check roofs, we check all the processes, we check the entire coach out before you buy it, before we put it on the lot for sale. In most cases, that protects you. And Evan has done a great job. Evan's been with us, like I said, a long, long time. And he's a wonderful guy, and he sees to it because it's a specific job. He has one specific job to do, and that's to take care of these coaches, so when you come and buy it, it's the best it possibly can be. So I hope you enjoyed the program. I hope you understand why to come to Sky River RV, because nobody else does this. This group of people at all three of our stores goes the extra mile to see to it you're protected. And still the prices are so fair. Anyway, thanks again. We'll see you next time.